Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Top Lessons podcast. I'm your host, Kathy Englund, and with me today, I have a special host. She is a kick-ass woman and CEO. She is Emily Fox of LUMA Matchmaking. Emily, thank you so much for joining and welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to see you. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we're so excited to have you here. So today's lesson is going to be on love and compatibility. And we all love this season, the season of, love and Christmas and the holidays. Christmas is coming around, Hanukkah is coming around. We are going to be in New Year's Eve celebrations. Valentine's Day is not far from that. So the best company to come and speak to us about love is a company that does it for a living. So what is LUMA?
Sure. LUMA Matchmaking is a matchmaking agency. This is sort of like an executive recruiter for your love life. So we have dating apps, and this is basically the antithesis of dating apps. So this is an actual human being that will listen to your needs and your aspirations in a partner and go out and find that person for you and guide you through the process of dating and finding someone that you're truly compatible with for a long-term committed relationship.
Amazing. Now, to give everyone a little bit of background on Emily herself. Emily is not only a accomplished CEO who's been at LUMA for a little bit under 2 years, but she is also an entrepreneur, an expert in consumer behavior and marketing. So you have this background on consumer behavior already in your bloodstream. For those of you that haven't seen Emily's profile yet, and I'm sure you will look her up the moment this goes public, is she is a Bachelor of Science graduate of cellular and molecular biology. She founded a skincare company and pioneered an organic preservative, way ahead of a lot of preservatives that were organic going viral. And you also co-founded an aviation company. You were the director of marketing operations at Stax, and you were the director of marketing at Boring Business Systems. So you, by no means, are a person that has a lot of time. You are very busy. You have been an entrepreneur for a very long time, and now you're bringing that all together at LUMA. So a lot of people are going to ask, why is LUMA different from the standard dating apps, which we know there's so many of, and the younger generation lives on them now. So why do we say LUMA is the place to go?
So the primary difference, and thank you so much for that intro. I know it sounds like so many different types of things, and I loved hearing how you put it all together. So I really appreciate that beautiful intro. So Luma is different, very different from the dating apps, and I think we've seen recently a massive drop in valuation in the dating apps. We've seen a major slowing of growth in the dating apps. People aren't joining as fast, and people are leaving in droves as well off the dating apps. So the main difference really is the human element. And we see so much of this right now with everything becoming really technology rich and AI and everything is technology, and people are really missing that human touch and the human element that an algorithm cannot give you. And I think what it really comes down to is the difference between chemistry and compatibility. So on the dating apps, we're kind of trained to just go in and we're looking at really superficial things and we're swiping and we're putting some few things in there, and it trains a very superficial type behavior. And I think a lot of our culture and a lot of our society has been trained through all of the movies that we've watched and all of the media and everything that we've consumed our entire lives that trains us to just really value chemistry. And chemistry is so important in a relationship, but it's just one piece of that compatibility puzzle that
Yeah.
makes for a true successful long-term relationship. So we have the human element. Luma, we have over 1 million potential matches in the database. So that's a lot of people, amazing people that are being hand selected and vetted and met with for over an hour, each and every one of them, to make sure that they fit the profile of somebody that we would want to work with. And every single person has been verified to be looking for a long term relationship.
Now, you were recruited by April Davis to be the CEO of LUMA. And we love April because she is the fantastic advertiser of LUMA and she is literally the expert on dating. But one of the things that I think is what we talked about earlier is we have these four great lessons of dating. and what makes Luma the expert of on finding compatibility versus that algorithm that we all know exists just to do a pure match on its surface, but it doesn't go those deep layers down. So you have these amazing 4 lessons that I know we wanted to share with our audience. And if I could turn it over to you on what makes those successful matches last, because we can all find, that first date that is great, but second and third, we find the person that they're not that great. We didn't really match below the surface. So, what 4 lessons can you share with us that are really great to finding that special someone?
Right. So the first lesson that I would say that I've found to be the most important thing when I've seen our most successful clients is that they have an open mind. So a lot of people are coming into this, and we've talked about this meme of that person that's looking for this very specific thing that we can talk about. But the most important thing that I've seen is have an open mind. This is not April. April likes to say this is not build a boyfriend here. So you're not coming to us with a list of this is what I want. You're trusting the process and you're trusting the experts to help you find somebody that you can reach true lasting compatibility with. Second lesson is self awareness. So, really, something that's very important in any relationship is knowing who you are. What true values do you have? Not just what are you looking for on a superficial level? What do they look like and what do they like and stuff like this? It's going to be a very deep level of who you are, what matters to you. And those are things that the matchmakers are really trained to understand about people for true long term compatibility.
And I love this because I think, what we look at a resume for a job, right? We look at them and say they look great on paper, but are they really great in person? And I know plenty of people I've interviewed in real life that they're not as great as they are on that paper. And that's what you do specialize in, right? You're looking for that customization of are they compatible below the surface, where it's not just a paper person. And a lot of people nowadays just look for that surface level. And it's great if you just want to have fun or go on a date or two and call it a day. But I know all my friends are looking for that special someone that is really long term. It's not a short term thing. As like, and there's a big difference between the 22-year-old looking for love and the 42-year-old looking for love.
Yes.
And it is a very different experience when you're a dating app versus on your service that's literally looking with experts who've done this for a very long time and know what below the surface means.
Yes, and that's a really good point in terms of what the expertise means. So we think about things like if you're looking to purchase real estate, you hire a real estate agent. You're looking to get your finances in order, you hire a financial expert. You want to do your taxes, you hire an accountant. And then what we're doing is we're kind of leaving ourselves to our own devices in terms of understanding what a compatible relationship is when some of us have either haven't had success in that area or really haven't been trained with the tools to really understand on a very, very deep level what that means. Matchmakers that we have working with us have had 15 to 20 and sometimes more years of experience doing this every single day, thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of matches that they've put together. And they can really see through feedback what works and what works long term. And there's something that for us, having had maybe a handful of relationships that we've had, we only have such a small little perspective to choose from. And the matchmakers have a much broader sense of what works. And so, that's why I say when you have an open mind, you're really trusting the process, but you're also really trusting the matchmaker.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I know the third lesson of patience, which I think resonates with a lot of people that I know that are used to that quick success story. And you go, hold on, that's not what realistically happens. We all don't wake up tomorrow and find, Prince Charming. So talk a little bit about the patience angle.
So instant results are not the norm in matchmaking. Um, Oftentimes it'll take 5 to 6 dates before two people will really truly find that they click on a very deep level. And sometimes it will be several months into your membership where you'll find that person that you click with. And so part of the process in terms of the matchmaking process itself is the matchmaker listening to your feedback and adjusting not only your feedback about the person that you've gone on a date with, but also the feedback that they've given about you to understand
Yeah,
what type
it
of
goes both
person.
ways, right? You can't just tell the person I love
Right.
you and then the second person goes, I didn't think it was a
Yeah.
match.
Yeah, it's really
This is a
interesting in
problem.
that way that they are um, getting feedback from both sides because the matchmaker wants to set you up for success with somebody who's going to like get you, right? And
Correct.
so there's that part of it. But there's also the fact that sometimes we'll set somebody up on a first date, and this happens a lot. I've heard this a lot from the expert matchmakers who've been doing this many, many years. A lot of the times they'll set somebody up with somebody who on the first date is kind of like, I don't know, and they encourage them to take another shot, okay, because it might have been people were nervous or they didn't fit your physical expectation of what you were looking for, and we just really get stuck in our little boxes. And 5 6 dates in, or even sometimes a year later, you'll find out that these people got married and they've been married for years or something.
Yeah,
So
which is, the constant culture of immediate satisfaction, right? We are so used to that. I mean, I can order, food on an app. I can order, everything on an app nowadays. And you think you can order your perfect someone on an app. And you go, that's not really how it works. Yes, do I know a few people that have been successful on apps? Yes. But I also know plenty who were not successful. And for 95% of the time, I think they were like, this is such a waste of time. And time is money, right? And if you don't have time for your family, why would you give it away to someone who's not your perfect person, right? And you go, you're scratching the surface. The build a boyfriend, scenario is like, look, maybe one day that'll be something that lives, in 100 years. Maybe Elon Musk is going to develop something for that. But for now, we're sticking with what is human and is around. Um, but I think the last lesson, which is openness and transparency, I think everyone needs like a reality check on, because we're so used to, this, I have all these expectations, but we don't say them, or we don't express them that much. So talk a little bit about that last lesson.
yeah, I like how you transitioned talking from the time wasting aspect to the openness and transparency aspect. Is those two things really go hand in hand? Because ultimately, into the end of the day, you're going to have your deal breakers. You're going to have your must haves. Okay. And those things are just not negotiable for you. But how weird is it to like get on to a first date with somebody and have to be like, hey, listen, I'm not into this. I won't do this. And it doesn't really come up in those conversations. So you're going to end up wasting a lot of time on all those niceties until you get to like the fourth, fifth, sixth date or a month in, when you find out like, man, we just don't jive here. And really what the matchmaking does is it eliminates all that wasted time, because you're able to talk to your matchmaker up front and say, look, this is non-negotiable for me. And sometimes they'll talk you down off of those things. I won't date a golfer. He can't golf. Okay, well, listen, you're going to be missing out on some really great guys, maybe because they golf. Okay, we'll try to talk you out of that one. I mean, if it's like really serious politics stuff that is really important to you, or want to have kids versus don't have kids. I mean, there's those types of things the matchmakers can help you and say, look, this is probably going to be a barrier to true compatibility in the long run. And I don't want you to waste your time there. So let's like get this figured out on the front end, and we'll match you up with people that you're not going to have issues with. And then you don't really have to talk about it on the first date. You can really just enjoy each other and know we're already in the clear on this stuff.
I know for a fact, like some of my girlfriends were like, he golfs every Saturday with all his buddies. And you go, it's okay, but maybe he's golfing because he doesn't have that special someone.
Yeah.
Maybe there is this thing of like, not every Saturday he'll do it once he finds that special someone. Or he may do it because, there's just something that he's in it for that, he can't get elsewhere, because, he's probably maybe working 80 hours a week just like you, and he needs that release. We go to the nail salon, guys go golfing, or maybe, you can golf with him. So there's always these like breakers, like you say, deal breakers that are just, hard stances on, but you go, sometimes those can be, the boundaries can be changed with that special someone. And
Yeah.
you go, you don't want to fix someone, because I don't believe in that. There's no fixing someone. You want someone that really is compatible with you. And I think one of the things that you said so eloquently with me when we were talking about this earlier is, one, that whole you can't build a boyfriend or a girlfriend is something that resonated with me forever. But it's this like, you need to have this attraction that lasts b- above the surface. It's,
Right.
if the looks go away, what else are you compatible with? And, we'll go with the viral TikTok in a few minutes. We'll discuss that one. But for now, it's like, what else is on that piece of paper when you're looking at someone's resume that person just, isn't easily readable when everything else goes away, right? So forget the looks. If you had a blind date with someone and you didn't know how they looked, what else are you compatible with? And, I described it in my past as, the looks will get you maybe one-fourth of the way there, but everything else will sell you.
Exactly. And we try to encourage people to actually not look at photos. We have options where you can see photos, and some people need to see photos, but we really try to encourage people not to look at photos because what we find is that people will be really quick to make judgments and they're actually limiting themselves. And first of all, people don't always look like their photos.
Oh,
Second of all, you can meet somebody who in a photo you thought, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. But then when you get around them, they have such charisma and they're so attractive in such a different kind of way that you never would have known if you had only been going on those surface level things. I think that's really where the apps are doing people a disservice. I mean, there's a lot
I
of
also
ways they're
think
doing a
the
disservice.
apps don't do any truth checking. You can write anything you want in an app.
Right.
There's no background check on an app. God, I've heard so many stories where the person shows up and, they lied about their age or they lied about what they do for a living. And you go, why would you waste someone's time if you lied about those things? And by the way, if you lied about those basics, what else can you lie about?
Right.
So, trusting Luma to do that matchmaking for you, I think is just something you can't buy off the shelf because you're putting time and effort into something. And it tells me that you're really involved and you really want someone. You're not just meeting someone for a Friday night, dinner option.
And it's so hard for the men, especially, to get through in the dating apps because when a woman joins, if she's decent looking, she will have instantly like hundreds or,
Yeah.
bucketfuls of men competing for her. And it becomes like, okay, hello, hi, hello, hi, hello, hi. And then all of a sudden people start like, I gotta do something to stick out. And people start, it almost becomes very disrespectful because people are being desensitized to the niceties and the courtesies that we normally, because it's just like just trying to get through. And so it encourages people to try to build upon and not be themselves, that you're going to be, much more often catfish. I mean, people will show up, they'll be 20, 30 years older, they'll be 100 pounds heavier than their pictures. And so with a matchmaker, what they're doing is, for us, we have to talk with someone every year. We have to meet with them face to face on a Zoom or in person and verify that they're still who they said they were and that they are still, taking care of themselves and that they're sane and sober and all of this.
Oh, I look with the AI apps nowadays, and I self admit that, I used AI apps for pictures. And they make you look so much better. Minus the fact that, you don't need a professional makeup artist to look great in an AI app. But that matters. That matters when you show up and you say, is the person truthful about who they say they are? But obviously Luma has been, kind of in many places. You've been on TV, you've been in the Real Housewives series, you've been on Fox, you've been on Forbes and Cosmo. So it's been around for a long time. And it's been obviously out longer than most dating apps. So why do you think dating apps don't work as a quick, punchline?
Well, I think primarily people are coming onto the dating apps when they are very lonely and they're looking to fill some kind of a hole. And they're looking for a quick fix to this and they're swiping and it's very like a dopamine kind of thing. Like it's
Yeah.
almost like a drug in a way. And I think that so many people on the apps are not looking for a long-term committed relationship. You have to get through that piece. Like what are they looking for? And there, there's this whole hookup culture. So the majority of the people on the apps are not looking for that. And when you work with a matchmaker, people are have come to us knowing what matchmaking is. That the purpose of it is to find a long term, committed, healthy, happy relationship and they've done the work that on themselves to set themselves up to be that person. I mean, you're not going to invest the money and pay for a service if you're not ready for it. And so I think it's a totally different group of people in terms of what they're looking for. And really, it's about showing up as a whole person. I know you and I have talked about this before, where people often say like it's two halves that make a whole, and but that really a true relationship is two whole, happy, healthy people. And when we go back to like talking about the guy who golfs, right? That's how wonderful is that he has
Yeah.
his thing that he does and he's a happy person and he has a social life and he gets outdoors and he's healthy. I mean, you
I
need to
agree.
be this person as well in order to show up and we can't come into a relationship and expecting that other person to fulfill all of our needs for us. We're just going to smother them that way. So we
For
encourage
sure.
you to
And
work
I
on
think
yourself.
and I know plenty of relationships that my girlfriends have experienced where, they find someone and they take 100% of their time. And you go, that lasts good for like a month, and then that person will be, shamed by their social circle because all of a sudden that's all they have and they drop everyone else for that person. And that comes back to the person later, to bite them, because you go, well, you can't just give someone 100% of your time, because you need that social escape, whatever it may be. Golfing is great in two ways, right? I know plenty of girlfriends who, join pickleball just to find someone, that's compatible with them. But at the same time, you go, you can't just drop everything for that special someone. You need them to have that breathing time, whether it's work or other social activities. But at the same time, I think it's admirable characteristic where someone, where when you meet someone and they take you to those events, with you, because they want to, introduce you to their circle. But also, you just also need to be independent. I think one of the funny stories that I know we shared before is someone who says, "You complete me." It's a cheesy line, right? We love to hear that line because it's so romantic. It's romanticized in movies. But you go, "You complete me." When you hear that, you go, "Wait, you're broken? Like, what's missing?
Yeah.
What am I completing?" And you go, if that person really means it on that true face, you go, run for the door, because they can't live without you. And that's not okay.
Right. Another funny one that I've heard recently is when people say, um, "I don't deserve you." When you hear
Oh,
that one, also run because it's probably
God.
true. That's another one as well.
Run. Oh yeah, I love that one. And I know plenty of people I've heard that from, and you go, yep, they will tell you that because they're also saying it to 10 other women that they're dating. And also, women say it too. We have this culture now where it's, desensitized a lot of things. But at the same time, you see those red flags. And another thing about flags, right? It's like the culture now is like you see these red flags, but there's also these gray flags where you say, "Am I really okay with this, or should I continue?" Because there's a lot of these gray flags, or some may call it a different color. But I also think it's important to pay attention to them, right? Because you go, well, is this something you really are going to get ticked off about in a few years, or is it going to accumulate to something that you're like, it's a red flag all of a sudden? Um, have you seen like those types where people say it's okay for now, but
I
later on
think
it's not going to
thank
be
you for
okay?
touching on a major, selling point for matchmaking in terms of what I've learned the past couple of years in terms of relationships as a whole, and that people tend to settle a lot. And the reason why they tend to settle is because our social circles are so small. I mean, a lot of people are working from home now, so it's harder to meet somebody. And so, or even if they're not working from home and we're so busy and everybody's working and everybody's got all these, working multiple jobs, trying to have a social life, and we just don't have as much time as we used to, and we don't have big giant families anymore, and we don't have like huge social circles. So that group of people in your network that you can meet is so small, so you're like, well, there's like, these are married and these are not looking for a relationship and these are not intelligent enough or whatever it is, and that leaves like these three people that I can choose from, so I got to choose one of them, and then which one
Yeah.
of them wants me, so there's only one, right? So I mean, so we limit ourselves in those ways, and I what I love about matchmaking is you're really opening up your network. So like, think about this executive recruiter, and the matchmakers know so many people, and they know so many beautiful, amazing, wonderful people, and what I have seen is people truly leveling up their circle. So think about, you go on some dates, but maybe not every single person that you meet through the matchmaking is like you're the love of your life, but this is an awesome person who has an amazing job and who's so interesting and so intelligent, and you're actually elevating yourselves into a higher level of interaction, and you start to see what you're worth, right? Because you're
Yeah.
not limited to this small little circle in your neighborhood or whatever it is.
Yeah. And you're global, right? So
Right,
you may meet someone that is not, within your vicinity of searching, or in your app, 5 mile radius.
right.
You may have someone that's across the country that is exactly, your compatibility person. And you'll never cross paths with them if you're not in Luma. And to speak about your percentage of success. If you can share with us that statistic, because
Yeah,
I think it's an amazing
yeah,
statistic.
so we have the highest success rate in the industry. Our success rate is 85%, which means that 85% of our clients leave their membership in a long-term committed relationship. So,
Which says a lot, because I guarantee you, if we ran the statistics about apps, I think it would be way in the single
oh yeah,
digits, if
no,
not double
it's
digits,
minuscule.
of finding long term love.
Yeah, so we're very successful in that, and, there's a percentage of people who, the other percentage that is, was 15%, my math, and those people, let's say they didn't find the love of their life in their first membership, they do renew oftentimes, and they do find so many people I have known found their love of their life in the first match of their second membership, so it's a strange thing, but even if you don't wanna do a second membership, what you retain is priority matching forever with Luma. So if you were once a client and you didn't have a a long-term committed relationship in that time, you anytime like an awesome person comes in, we will consider you first to match with them.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
we also match many, many past clients, and they are now married in beautiful long-term relationships. And then I
Oh,
will
I love
say, in terms of like, um, even if you were the 15% that didn't, everybody that leaves Luma leaves like a different person. I see so many people like, thank you for helping me through this time. You made me understand this and this. You were there for me. It's a really
Back to
beautiful
that self
experience.
awareness circle, right? Like you make people be more self aware, because maybe by the questions and by their experiences, they found what exactly they were looking for.
Yeah,
And and it's that self-awareness that I think many people, as I say, you can't always buy that with a degree or something. It almost comes with experience. So going through the Luma matchmaking experience gives them that self-awareness of maybe the right person asking the right questions, or saying, hey, how about, if not this, then how about that, where an algo can't do that for you. An algo is not going to have that personal touch. And I'm an algo geek. My background obviously is electronic trading
mhm,
compliance, and I spent my entire career on algos, and I love algos because they work for trading really well, but they don't work personally for that personal touch. Like an algo is not going to tell you, hold on, if we went this route, we would find you a person. Um, and I think that's what everyone needs to kind of understand, that apps are not, ideal for that human touch.
no,
Um, you
they're
know,
they're
you
very
find an
much
app
so.
for food, but
Yeah.
maybe not for the person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people find it. I don't know a lot of success stories. I know most couples nowadays, I think something like 60% of couples have met online in one way or another. Where it used to be all kinds of other reasons, and it's like an astronomical number of people who meet each other online, but the relationships are not lasting very long, and they're not really probably built on all the right things. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It just will more likely happen with that true guidance. And all of our matchmakers are also certified life coaches. So you're going to be speaking with someone almost like a counselor in terms
Yeah,
of setting yourself up to be somebody that would most likely be successful in a relationship.
yeah. Well, no, I think Luma is definitely the way to go. So if you're looking for love and looking for compatibility, give Luma a try. I think Emily has, the success stories behind her to prove that Luma is actually a luxury matchmaking service that works. But also, it's something that what is old is new again. So obviously, what is not in the app may be found via the traditional way of finding love. So, in this lovely holiday spirit of, Hanukkah, Christmas, Valentine's Day, New Year's, give Luma a try. Reach out to them, find them online. We will link them for you, so you can go and find out maybe your special someone exists via Luma. And you can, write me a story later on how you met your significant other. I would love to be the person that, takes some success for finding your love. But Emily, thank you so much for your time today, and I hope you continue being your successful entrepreneur and CEO at Luma. But at the same time, I think you're just an amazing CEO. So keep doing the positive work, and I look forward to hearing from you again soon.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Thanks.